We have a very different approach. We have another way of looking at fine watchmaking.
So today I'm in Antwerp and I'm here to see independent watchmaker RESSENCE. Now these guys blend design and technology and put that into fine watchmaking in a way that I've never seen anyone do before. It's really incredible. So I can't wait to go and get hands-on with some of the watches, and I thought I'd take you guys with me.
Welcome, Simon, to RESSENCE. Please come in.
So Benoît, thank you so much for inviting me here to see you in Antwerp. It's been fantastic seeing the watches and of course getting to meet you. But I had a few questions for you, and one of the things that's really interested me is your background is as an industrial designer, right?
Yes.
So what brought you to designing watches?
A watch is a very holistic product. I mean with that when you're a designer, you have many dimensions you have to take into account when you define the different aspects of a product. I'll give a few examples. Like most people will refer to the aesthetics of the watch, but you also, of course, you have the technology that you use, the techniques that you do here, the materials. You also have the ergonomics. That's a very central element because a product is usually made for a person. Once you have defined all these dimensions you have to work on, well, and that's what I try to do with RESSENCE, is that each of these dimensions, I try to get it to another level, to another reality. You have watches with traditional hands, well, let's do it with discs. You have watches that have different layers, let's put it in one layer. You have, etc. So I'm talking about the aesthetic things, but the aesthetic things have consequences on the technical things.
Of course.
And so if you can make everything coherent with each other, you end up with a kind of new reality. And that's super exciting when you design a watch and a watch brand, basically, because you also design a brand. Well, that's really the thing that got me into watchmaking, even though, yeah, we're from Antwerp. There's no watchmaking in Antwerp.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what's clear to me is that your background has brought you to create something that's very unique, the way they work, not just how they look. I think maybe had you have come from a watchmaking background, this would not have been the result.
There's a big chance. The whole thing is that would I have been a watchmaker, I would have probably started with the movement, because that would have been what I've always learned, what is central in my profession. But it's not. So for me, what is central in my profession is the person that will buy the watch, that will wear the watch. That's the central thing for me. So I really start with, well, if you buy a RESSENCE, I'll start with you and ask myself, okay, why would you buy a RESSENCE? And what does it mean for the product? What are the features that we need to include in there, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a very different approach. Doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It's just that we have another way of looking at fine watchmaking.
But bringing something so different to the market in the first place, what was that like? And did you have any trepidation? Did you have any worries and anxiety about what if it's too different?
Yeah, actually, it started with not the opposite for me. It was, what if it exists already? Because basically what I do with RESSENCE is something that could have been done 50 years ago or 100 years ago. There's nothing in there that it's still a mechanical watch. So you could have done it maybe a bit differently, but someone could have thought about it. So my first question was more like, I hope no one has done it. Then I took a patent on it, and so I officially knew there is nothing out there from at least that point of view. But yes, it was once I was there, I thought, okay, now how do I build on it? How do I make a portfolio out of this central concept? But when you start with something, and then you evolve. I didn't know 14 or 15 years ago that I would do the watches I do today. The design they have, the functions they have, the style they have, the way they are conceived has evolved a lot. The company has evolved, but also the way we design our products has evolved. I've learned a lot by working with watchmakers, by working with part manufacturers, and this reflects in the way our watches are built today. It's a very different watch. If you take the first generations, they look like dinosaurs today when you put them next to each other, and also certainly when you look inside of them.
Typical designer, when you always look back at your own work later and think, why did I do that?
No, I don't think that. I really think, it was a good start, but fortunately, I was able to evolve but still keep the DNA, because that's really the central thing of a Ressence. For example, there's no brand name on a Ressence. There is a logo, of course, but there's no brand name, but you still recognize a Ressence from far away. So that this is an important asset that we have, we need to cultivate it.
Yeah, and absolutely. So we could look at some of the watches today. We've got a couple of them in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me a little bit about, and tell the viewers a little bit about what we have here.
Okay, so I'll start with the latest model we introduced. It's called the Type 3. The platform is not new. The Type 3 is a watch that we introduced in 2013, so that's more than 10 years ago. So what is specific about the Type 3? The Type 3 was the first in the watch industry, was the first oil-filled mechanical watch. And why did we put oil in a mechanical watch? Well, that is to achieve this graphical effect. It's very striking. It's very nearly digital as an effect.
This is the thing that strikes you immediately about them, and it actually kind of messes with your brain a little bit when you first see them, because you think you're looking at a digital screen, and yet it's all purely mechanical.
It's purely mechanical, and the reason why it looks like that is because we apply something that is done in digital products with screens. In digital products, you have the LCD screen or the whatever technology you have that is the screen, and then you have the glass. For example, on a smartphone, you have a glass that protects it, but in between there is no air. In between there is a gel, and it's the gel that gives you the effect of being on the outside. It eliminates the refraction. Well, we did the same. Of course, there's no gel in our watches because they would not run. We use oil. But the result graphically is the same. So it really projects the image on the outside of the crystal.
And I imagine this isn't any kind of oil. This isn't the kind of oil you're going to put in your BMW, right?
No, you can't cook with it too. It's a silicon-based oil. Actually, it has quite some very specific characteristics, because it's as transparent as water. It's chemically neutral, so it's not a solvent, because the Luminova would dissolve. It's not an acid or not a base. It's completely neutral also from that point of view. It's UV neutral, UV insensitive, so it doesn't change color because of sunlight. And it is very, very fluid, meaning that the viscosity is very low. Very high or very low? No, I don't know anymore.
No, I'm not sure.
It's like water, and not like thick oil. It's really very fluid. And well, it was a challenge to find the oil, basically, because where do you need such an oil? So we were able to find it. But the very, very first prototypes I made in Type 3, I made them with organic oil used for... Actually, I bought the oil from people that repair historical compasses.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so we don't use that for sure. We only use it for the prototypes. But the problem that we had is that
As the watches kept telling you the direction and not the time.
nearly. Actually, the Luminova didn't like it. It became yellowish after a while. So it's still organic.
Right. We also have so this is a dive watch that you released, right?
Yeah, so in beginning of the summer, we released the Type 5. So the Type 5 is our diver watch. And we did it with a new execution called L for Lum or Luminova. So actually this watch it's a Type 5, but with the whole dial is luminescent. So the whole dial glows up in the dark. And so it's a very spectacular watch, basically, when in the dark. But during the day, it just feels like a very subtle gray watch, very, very neutral. It really starts to glow in the dark. So,
But also very functional because it's an ISO certified diver, right?
it is. So the Type 5 is a real diver watch in that sense that it has been ISO certified. We thought, okay, if we do a diver watch, which is quite unique for independent brands. Not many independent brands have diver watches, and for sure not many have real diver watches, meaning they are ISO certified. We thought, okay, for the integrity of the company, the integrity of what we do, we want to make sure that it's really a diver watch. So it has all these features that you must have if you want to claim the ISO certification. There are quite a few things that you need to have, and it's a very, very tough testing procedure to get it approved.
Just incredible what you've achieved with the company, with the brand, so many innovations in a relatively short space of time. You're clearly a man who is always coming up with new ideas, never stands still. But I'm really excited to see what the future holds. And can you give us a little bit of a glimpse into where you see Ressence in the future?
Yeah. Well, we have quite a good view on where we're going, actually. Even though the world is changing every year with all the events that are popping up all over the world. But still, we have a kind of roadmap. And that roadmap is defined by a number of dimensions, a number of parameters. And we try, actually what we do is that we take these different parameters, technology, product, category, market. We define then the product that would fit best for this situation or this typical case or whatever, how you define that. So this is really something we are working on. I would not say every day, but quite very regularly. We are rethinking. Okay, this is what we need to develop now. This is the product we need to do that. And then you have the animations. For example, when we do a Type 3 BB2, you have to redefine the coloring, the graphics, etc., for a product that exists. So there are many levels, many dimensions that we can work within. I cannot really tell you what we are working on, but it's always with a very clear purpose.
It sounds like you're constantly developing the product and also your kind of process, I guess, in terms of how the products are made as well, behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's the whole idea of Ressence. The philosophy of the brand is, again, it's influenced by the fact we don't have a watchmaking DNA, but we have an industrial design DNA. And when you have an industrial design DNA, you look at the product from its function, not from the way it works. It's a very different approach. When you look at it from the way it works, your priority will go to the movement, will go to the technicity of the watch. Well, we don't do that. We think you are the goal as the person that will wear the watch, and so we need to make sure that what we provide as a service when you wear the watch, a watch provides you a service. It's a function. It's express the time. That's why we make watches for. That does not mean that this is the only reason for a watch. We all know that there are brands that have built their whole credibility around the fact that when you wear their watch, you show that you have a lot of money, for example. And it's perfect because they sell the watches. So it means there are people that want that. That's okay. That's fine. We have decided that we are industrial designers. And then when you are an industrial designer, well, the functionality is key. And the functionality of a watch is not how the balance wheel works, but it's how it shows you the time in the most efficient way.
I guess it's the whole design philosophy of form and function, right?
Yes.
So it's about getting both aspects to work in harmony and to do the best that they can be.
Yeah. But still with the focus on the user, not on the technicity. Even though our products are very technical, but as you said, it's hidden behind the screen. Why is it hidden behind the screen? Because you don't need to know how the gears are moving when you need to know the time. So we take out everything we can that would distract you from the main purpose of a watch being expression of time. So I'm a bit square here, but yeah, if you want to have a relevant product, a product that makes sense, that has a purpose, that has a reason of existence, well, you have to make sure that the function it does must be as done as well as possible, as good as possible. And well, for us, from our point of view, a watch is a tool to express time, so you need to do that in the best possible way.
I think that's a perfect way to end this interview. But I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to come here to meet you, to see the watches. They really are something special, really something very, very different. I think I'd really encourage everybody to go and check them out whenever there's an opportunity.
Thank you, Sam.
And you, Benoît.
Thank you.